Malaysia and Turkey turn relations into public benefits. US provides 45 million USD for Thailand-Cambodia peace accord. Good afternoon and salam Malaysia Madani. I'm Sahih and you're watching World Today. Close ties between Malaysia and Turkey, reinforced by long-standing trust between their leaders, are driving stronger cooperation in trade, investment and international engagement. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the relationship built on years of trust and mutual respect has enabled closer engagement and understanding at the leadership level. He added that this has allowed both countries to cooperate more effectively on key economic and diplomatic initiatives. Datuk Seri Anwar said in an interview with Turkish public broadcaster TRT, World's One-on-One program during his recent visit to Turkey, that President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has been a close personal friend throughout years of trials and challenges and has remained a true and steadfast ally. Although personal ties between leaders may ease diplomatic engagement, the emphasis remains on ensuring this relationship translates into meaningful cooperation that benefits the wider public. Prime Minister said both sides are working towards increasing bilateral trade, although he acknowledged that current trade levels remain modest relative to the size of both economies. The establishment of Malaysia-Turkey High-Level Strategic Cooperation Council (HLSCC) was among the key achievements of Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim's three-day official visit to Turkey. It simultaneously elevated Malaysia-Turkey bilateral relations to a higher level, encompassing cooperation in the economy, defence, education and future technologies. Saswani Samsu has more.
The official visit at the invitation of Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan began in Ankara with an official welcome at the presidential complex. The highlight of the visit saw the Prime Minister and President Erdogan co-chair the first meeting of the Malaysia-Turkey High-Level Strategic Cooperation Council.
Ini suatu permulaan yang menarik kerana tidak banyak negara yang kita adakan hubungan dua hala pada tingkat itu. Dan dalam high level ini, council ini dia mesti dipromosikan bersama oleh Presiden dan saya. Tentunya keputusan-keputusan kita itu akan dilaksanakan oleh menteri-menteri.
The joint declaration on the establishment of the HLSCC was also signed by both leaders, marking their agreement to elevate bilateral relations to the highest level and opening a new chapter in Malaysia-Turkey cooperation. Datuk Seri Anwar and Erdogan also witnessed the signing of 7 documents to strengthen strategic cooperation between Malaysia and Turkey across various fields. In recognition of his role in strengthening bilateral ties, Datuk Seri Anwar was also awarded the Order of the Republic Medal. The visit also emphasized economic cooperation as the Prime Minister attended a Captain of Industry Roundtable meeting with 46 Turkish and Malaysian companies involving the defense, aerospace, semiconductor, automotive and halal industries sector.
So I want to visit to all these FTAs agreement that we have signed, 17 of them, and we go to every country. We address, look at what benefit they have got from us in the past, what we get, what benefit that we have got from them. We want to intensify this collaboration.
Bagi pihak Madrid, kita merasakan bahawa lautan yang maklumat Perdana Menteri ke Turki pada kali ini adalah amat bermakna dan juga berjaya dalam membangunkan dan memperkukuhkan hubungan ekonomi, terutamanya perdagangan dan pelaburan di antara kedua-dua buah negara.
From Ankara to Istanbul, Prime Minister's first official visit to Turkey marked a significant milestone in Malaysia-Turkey diplomatic relations. The visit also focused on exploring more strategic, results-oriented cooperation. Sazwani Samsu, Istanbul, RTM.
Turning to our next story, the United States will provide $45 million to support Thailand and Cambodia in implementing the Kuala Lumpur Peace Accords and pave the way for a return to peace, prosperity and stability for its people and the region. U.S. State Department Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs, Michael George Desombre, said these measures will help restore peace, prosperity and stability along the Thai-Cambodian border while deepening U.S. engagement in the Indo-Pacific region. To help achieve this, he said the U.S. will provide $15 million for border stabilization to support community recovery and displaced persons. An additional $10 million will go towards demining and unexploded ordnance clearance, while $20 million will fund initiatives to combat scam operations and drug trafficking, among other programs. Desombre also expressed his deep appreciation to Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim and Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Mohamad Hassan for Malaysia's leadership as ASEAN chair in facilitating the peace negotiations. He added that the peace accords are also expected to have a positive impact on the economies of Thailand and Cambodia. The European Union will grant Syria around €620 million in 2026 and 2027 for post-war recovery, bilateral support and humanitarian aid. During a visit to the Syrian capital, Damascus, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said after years of devastation under ousted Syrian leadership Bashar al-Assad regime, Syria's recovery and reconstruction needs are immense.
So we want to strengthen our engagement with financial support of around €620 million for this year and for the next year. This financial support will include humanitarian aid, of course, but also early recovery support and bilateral support among us.
Von der Leyen said the EU wants to begin talks on reviving a cooperation accord with Syria and that it will launch a new political partnership with the country, including high-level talks, in the first half of 2026. She also said the recent escalating violence in the northern Syrian city of Aleppo between government forces and Kurdish fighters this week was worrisome and that continued dialogue between all parties was urgently needed. In 2005, the EU lifted economic sanctions on Syria after fighters toppled long-time autocratic President Assad following more than a decade of civil war. U.S. President Donald Trump held a meeting with executives from some of the world's largest oil companies at the White House on Friday to discuss Venezuela, saying that boosting crude production from the country will help the United States. The meeting reflects the importance of oil to Trump's strategy for the OPEC nation after U.S. forces seized the South American country's leader Nicolas Maduro in a brazen overnight raid on its capital.
And we're going to be working with Venezuela. We're going to be making the decision as to which oil companies are going to go in, that we're going to allow to go in. Of oil was given to us by Venezuela.
Trump administration officials have said they need to control Venezuela's oil sales and revenues indefinitely to ensure the country acts in America's interest, and also want to see big oil companies plow billions of dollars into rehabilitating Venezuela's oil fields. Oil companies participating in the talks include many of the biggest names, Chevron and ExxonMobil.
They've been so generous, but they respect us again. They didn't respect us at all before.
In another development, President Trump said the U.S. needs to own Greenland to prevent Russia or China from occupying in the future.
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not. Because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor.
A U.S. military seizure of Greenland from a longtime ally Denmark would send shock waves through the NATO alliance and deepen the divide between Trump and European leaders. next 2 days, dozens missing after Philippine dump site collapse. Stay tuned. Rescue workers searched on Friday for dozens of people buried under a mountain of garbage that collapsed at a landfill in the central Philippines, killing at least 2. About 50 sanitation workers were buried when the towering pile refused toppled onto them at Binaliu landfill. Hundreds of rescuers already on site would be joined by another 500 for search efforts expected to last through to Sunday. The recovery of the body of a 25-year-old engineer brought the confirmed death toll to 2, the mayor said in an early evening post on his Facebook page, adding 36 remain missing. At least 12 employees have been pulled alive from the garbage and hospitalized. Officials are coordinating with national agencies and landfill management to assess the situation and provide assistance to the families of victims. More than 200 people were killed in July 2000 when an avalanche of garbage consumed a Manila shanty town populated by several thousand scavengers. Indonesia's Mount Semeru in East Java erupted on Friday, unleashing a pyroclastic ash flow extending about 4 kilometers downhill from its summit. An officer at the Mount Semeru observation post, Sigit Rian Alfian, said the eruption occurred at 3:13 p.m. and continued for at least 3 hours. Indonesia's Centre for Volcanology and Geological Hazards Mitigation PVMBG raised Mount Semeru's volcanic activity status to level 3. PVMBG said the status escalation was based on intensified seismic activity, frequent eruptions accompanied by incandescent lava avalanches, and the potential for pyroclastic flows along rivers and valleys originating from the summit. The centre had also advised the public to refrain from activities in the southeastern sector along Besok Kobokan within a radius of 13 kilometers from the summit. Beyond that distance, residents are also advised to avoid activities within 500 meters of the river banks along Besok Kobokan due to the potential expansion of pyroclastic flows and lava flows that could reach up to 17 kilometers from the summit. An explosion at around 4:10 p.m. local time on Friday caused the partial collapse of a residential building in Madrid, Spain, killing 1 person and leaving 9 others injured. According to national police sources at the scene, part of the facade floor structure collapsed at a property. Emergency services confirmed 1 fatality and 1 person in critical condition, while Madrid firefighters rescued 4 people from the building. Emergency medical teams also treated 8 people for minor injuries at the scene. Early images suggest the explosion occurred on one of the upper floors of the building, reportedly the 4th floor. Madrid City Council firefighters extinguished the flames affecting the kitchen and the terrace of one adjacent flat. Emergency services later confirmed that the fire spread to some awnings on the facade but did not cause further damage inside others' homes. The district social services also offered emergency accommodation to families from the flat where the fire originated, while police cordoned off the area as a precaution. Sudan's war reached the grim milestone of 1,000 days on Friday, with UN aid officials warning of a staggering scale of civilian suffering.
Fighting continues across multiple fronts. In Kordofan, sieges have cut off the towns of Kadugli and Dilling, restricting food, healthcare, and access to farms and markets. In Darfur, fighting on the ground and drone attacks from the sky continue, and we have seen long-range strikes on civilian infrastructure far beyond the front lines.
UNICEF spokesperson said that more than 5 million children have been forced from their homes, the equivalent of 5,000 children displaced every single day since this conflict began. Britain said it was allocating £200 million to fund preparation for the possible deployment of troops to Ukraine after pledging its soldiers this week to a multinational force for the country in the event of a ceasefire. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, French President Emmanuel Macron and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Tuesday agreed a declaration of intent at the summit of the coalition of the willing of Ukraine's allies, outlining a potential future deployment. Visiting the Ukrainian capital Kiev on Friday, British Defence Minister John Healey said the money would be spent on upgrading vehicles and communication systems and counter-drone protection, as well as ensuring troops are ready to deploy.
Yeah, look, first of all, I'm proud of the way that the UK is united for Ukraine. I'm proud to represent the UK here in Kyiv when they are suffering such brutal attacks directly from Putin at their cities and at their civilians. This is a war that's costing us all, and we are pulling out all the stops, both to help Ukraine in the fight today and to secure the peace for tomorrow. And the agreements this week will help pave the way for Ukraine.
Healey also told Zelensky that production of Octopus interceptor drones based on a Ukrainian design but made in Britain would start in January. Britain will send thousands of them back to Ukraine each month to help the country defend itself against Russian drone attacks. US President Donald Trump has announced a new round of travel restrictions targeting 7 countries, including Burkina Faso, Laos, Mali, Niger, South Sudan and Syria. The restrictions came into effect on 1st January 2026. The latest proclamation expands upon Trump's earlier restrictions issued in June 2005, which fully barred nationals from 12 countries and partially restricted those from another 7. Implementation of the ban will affect both immigrant and non-immigrants visa categories, although certain exemptions remain in place, including current visa holders, lawful permanent residents, diplomats and individuals travelling in the national interest.
Most of South Sudanese, they are also traveling there for business. They are also traveling there for medical assistance. It has been a good relationship for a long time that we don't have any dispute with the Americans that can make the U.S. government to stop a visa for us South Sudanese as citizens.
In sports, Aaron Wuyik through to the semis, last man standing for Malaysia. Stay tuned.
Dunia digital penuh dengan kandungan ganas, eksploitasi kanak-kanak dan buli cyber berleluasa di luar kawalan. Akta Keselamatan dalam Talian 2025 atau AMSA dikuat kuasa untuk melindungi rakyat. Pengguna boleh bertindak atas kandungan yang berisiko. Setiap laporan yang dibuat, platform digital wajib bertindak pantas terhadap penyalahgunaan digital. Dengan AMSA, internet kini lebih selamat untuk kanak-kanak dan keluarga kita.
Aaron Chia and So Yik kept local hopes alive by winning a title at the Malaysian Open title after storming into the men's doubles semi-finals at Axiata Arena last night. The world number 2 defeated Indonesia's world number 8 Sabar Karyaman Gutama and Mohreza Pahlavi Isfahani 21-19, 21-10 to put the smile back on thousands of fans at the stands following the elimination of other Malaysian shuttlers earlier. The win carried extra significance as it served as sweet revenge for Aaron Wuyik, who had lost to the same Indonesians in the SEA Games final in Bangkok last month.
Yeah, we just want to keep going this momentum, and of course we are happy with our play when we play well. But we want to be consistent every match. So I think, yeah, it's just left us now. I think it's not the pressure now. I think we just have to keep focused and do our part as well as a senior in our team. So I think, yeah, we just do our part and we hopefully tomorrow we can win our match.
Saya rasa memang kena prepare jugalah sebab memang Fajar dengan Fikri tak senang. Kita last year dah lawan dengan diorang, I think 2 weeks before pun dah lawan. So tahun ni kita akan prepare lebih baik untuk ready for match tomorrow.
Their progress into the last 4 ensured Malaysia's title ambitions remain intact, following the quarter-final exits of Man Wei, Chong Ti Kai Woon and mixed doubles world champion Cheng Tang Ji To Yi Wei earlier in the day. Waiting for Aaron and Wee in the semi-finals is another Indonesian pair, Fajar Alfian and Shohibul Fikri. Karim Benzema scored a first half hat-trick as Al Ittihad extended the recent improved run of form to beat host Al Khaloud 4-0 and climb to 5th in the Saudi Pro League table early this morning. A difficult fixture for Al Khaloud became almost impossible when defender William Truss Ekong received a straight red as early as the 8th minute. It came as a little surprise that Ittihad would quickly overwhelm the home team, with Benzema opening the scoring on 13 minutes from the penalty spot and then doubling the lead on 28 minutes, converting from Mohamed Al-Shankiti's assist. The Frenchman completed his treble in the 55th minute, tapping home Moussa Diaby's low cross from close range in a very similar manner to his second goal. Saleh Al-Shahri completed a rout 6 minutes from the end to secure a 4th straight SPL win for the club. The reigning champions now have 26 points from 13 matches and remain 9 points behind leaders Al Hilal. Al Nassr sit in second with 31 points ahead of Al Tawoon on goal difference, while Al Qadsiya are fourth with 27 points. Nigeria sharpshooters Victor Osimhen and Ademola Lookman will provide a stern test to the flawless record of Algeria goalkeeper Lucas Zidane, a son of French football icon Zinedine Zidane, in the Africa Cup of Nations quarterfinals in Morocco tomorrow. Zidane is the only first-choice goalkeeper amongst the 8 quarter-finalists to have kept a clean sheet in all his tournament matches so far, but the task facing him in Marrakesh on Sunday will not be easy. Former African Player of the Year award winners Osimhen and Lookman have tormented offences during the tournament, scoring 3 goals each. Zidane, 27, kept clean sheets in group matches against Sudan and Burkina Faso before being rested against Equatorial Guinea. He was recalled for a last 16 clash with the Democratic Republic of Congo and once again was unbeaten during a dramatic extra-time victory. Algeria have been an AFCON bogey team for Nigeria, winning 4 and drawing 2 of 9 meetings, including a 5-1 drubbing of the Super Eagles en route to winning the 1990 tournament at home. Germany has become one of the first major nations to announce its base camp for the 2026 World Cup in the United States. In a video released by the German Football Association, DFB, the team's hotel complex and training facilities were shown, underscoring the importance of optimal conditions during tournaments. Coach Julian Nagelsmann said the camp offers 3 high-quality pitches within walking or cycling distance. Nagelsmann compared the setup to the team's home ground, Herzogenaurach, Germany, highlighting a mix of communal spaces and private areas at the Grelin estate. The team will train at Wake Forest University, which Nagelsmann described as super impressive for its sports facilities, adding that players could even shoot a basket or 2 during downtime. Germany will play its final warm-up match against the United States in Chicago on 6 June. In the group stage, the 4-time world champions face Curacao, Ivory Coast and Ecuador. The Germans have openly set their goal of winning the World Cup following shock first-round exits in 2018 and 2022 to restore their dented reputation as a global football powerhouse. Qatar's Nasser Al Attiyah will lead the Dakar Rally into its second and final week after winning the 6th stage in the Saudi Arabian desert on Friday to take over at the top from the South African rival Heng Latigan. Al Attiyah, a 5-times Dakar winner now competing for the Dacia Sen Riders, had been second overnight but turned a deficit of more than 3 minutes into a 6-minute and 10-second advantage over the 326-kilometer time stage between Hill and Al Riyadh. Saturdays is a rest day before the rally resumes in Riyadh, and Sunday with 7 more stages to the finish in Yanbu on the Red Sea coast on 17 January. Al Attiyah won Friday stage by 2 minutes and 58 seconds from teammate and 9-times World Rally champion Sebastian Loeb, Dacia's first Dakar 1-2 with Toyota's American Seth Quintero third. In the motorcycle category, there was no change at the top, although leader and defending champion Daniel Sanders was handed a 6-minute penalty for riding at 98 km per hour in a zone limited to 50 km per hour. KTM rider Sanders now leads Honda's American Ricky Brabec, the stage winner after the Australian's penalty by 45 seconds, with Argentine rider Luciano Benavides more than 10 minutes behind in third. Ahead, Glasses for the Blind aims to help visually impaired. A newly opened rage house has perked the interest of local residents in Turkey's southeastern province of Diyarbakir as it looked to help reduce violent acts in the city. Hamza Durmaz, the owner of the establishment, which opened less than 2 weeks ago, said he used to have anger issues himself and was prompted to open the rage house after saying that freely smashing objects allowed him to release pent-up anger in a relatively harmless way.
Bildiğiniz gibi Diyarbakır biraz öfke problemi olan bir şehir. Hatta öfke konusunda biraz had safhadayız. Amerika'da zaten bu tür şeyler yaygın. Bir iki videoda denk gelince Diyarbakır'da neden olmasın diye düşündüm. En azından bir nebze de olsa belki bir önüne bir ufak da olsa geçebiliriz diye.
Psychological counsellor Harry Mujay Ersetin, however, cautioned that while rage houses may be helpful in relieving stress in the short term, they may also prove detrimental in the long term as it carries the risk that this tendency towards violence, starting with entertainment, could later find a more pronounced counterpart in real life. Forget salon appointments and nail drama. Florida-based digital beauty brands iPolish is taking nail art to the next level. At CES in Las Vegas, the company unveils smart press-on nails that can switch between over 400 colors in just 5 seconds.
Manipulate the color of the coating with a microvoltage, and in that wand we can map the microvoltage. So what does that mean? So let's say a red color is a voltage 00001, and that produces red, or there's a voltage 00002 that could produce green.
Powered by electrophoretic nanopolymers and controlled by an app on phone, Littel says the iPolish smart nails are e-ink for fingertips. As a child in Romania, engineer Cornel Amari dreamed of attending CES. That dream has come true. His company's Glasses for the Blind has been named a 2026 CES Innovation Awards honoree. The device, worn like regular glasses, guides visually impaired users in a way similar to a guide dog.
I was born in a family where everybody but me has a disability, so I'm the only person without a disability in my family, and I show how much technology can help people with disabilities, but also how little technology exists for people with disabilities.
He said the company is currently working on orders in Eastern Europe and hopes to one day get into the US market. And that's it from us this afternoon in our top story. Malaysia and Turkey turn relations into public benefits. Till then, I'm Sahih Samsudin. Have a great weekend.